Welcome to the Freedom Hustles podcast, where host John and Andy take you on a journey of liberation away from the 9-to-5 grind. Explore side hustles, remote work, and the skills to help you unlock true freedom. Brought to you by freedomskillsacademy.com, this podcast is your gateway to independence and financial empowerment.
Okay, so welcome again. Here we go, episode 71. Good evening, Andy. How you doing?
I'm not too bad. Yourself? Did you watch the match tonight?
Yeah. So
well done, Denmark.
England versus Denmark, and it was terrible. We should have just recorded the podcast early because there was no point watching it. Yeah, 1-1.
Well, it was a pleasure to watch Denmark.
Denmark, yeah, they played much better than us, I thought.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, we won't dwell on that too much because tonight we're talking about blogging, but not necessarily in the sort of traditional sense. Blogging has been around for a long time now, years, decade, probably maybe 15 years, I don't know, something like that. But that was in the sort of old traditional, website, WordPress, that sort of setup, which is still a great way of doing it. But tonight we're talking about something a little bit different, and arguably a far easier way of doing it, far easier way of getting started anyway. Something which has got all of your sort of tools, if you like, ready to go. So I'm going to let you sort of lead on this because you are doing this actively with some of your articles, well, every article, and we've been growing it kind of that way. So yeah, do you want to?
Okay. So traditionally, as you will know, 10 years ago or 12 years ago when we first met, we were doing lots of blogging. And for those who know what blogging is, basically is you have a website, you put your articles on there, you put your photographs and your videos. But once you publish something, you had to basically go out and let everybody know on the social media platforms that your post was available. If you had an RSS feed, I don't know if they're still available these days, but people were able to subscribe and get notified. I believe that's how it used to work. And stuff like that. And also you'd have to rely on traffic. But basically you'd publish your post. And unless you went and sent an email or went to social media to let people know, nobody knew it was there. It just went out to fresh air. You had to let people know. Things have changed a lot with social media platforms that there's a growing number of people who are now using it, especially LinkedIn and Facebook are the two. And now I think X is now following suit because if you pay for their premium, was it like £20 a month or something like that, you can actually write longer articles on X. But these social media profiles now, they have all the tools in-house, all these tools in-house. You can publish your content and you can grow a fairly large audience. And as soon as you publish something, people get to see it. I mean, I published something today and I've already had a conversation with 4 people who have commented on that post. So those 4 people have seen that post. I posted it early on before the game and they've seen it. And so the big difference is now is that there are people. I mean, the article I published today was basically it was like people using it as social media and people using it as business is now 2 different types. And there are people who are using Facebook and LinkedIn as basically old traditional blogs. You know what I mean? They are creating these long form articles and they are writing it in the style like you do on an article on a website. You'll have a call to action at the bottom. You get people to do something. But with things like Facebook, I don't know so much about LinkedIn. I know that they're moving on to it now. But with Facebook, you can do a live video, you can upload a video, you can do a photograph, you can do multiple photographs, you can put a fairly big blog, you link out to places, but they prefer you not to. So a lot of people are using these platforms to basically have the stuff in-house. But you've also got your stories, but now you've got Reels as well, and Reels get shown to other people. And if you go live, everybody gets a notification if you do a live video. So everything, basically, these platforms aren't social media platforms. They are actually now replacing WordPress and Blogger as in the chosen places to go to.
Yeah. No, there seems to be a bit of a trend, doesn't there? It's funny, isn't it? Like, I can remember when, like, Google Plus come about and everyone kind of jumped on that. And then it sort of like that died off. But now we're sort of seeing a bit of a shift. I wouldn't say we're seeing a shift back to them. It's not going to fully replace it. We still highly recommend people are, some businesses models definitely you do need a website. There's no two ways about it.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah, and that's great, but there is some advantages, like you say, just starting out with these platforms now. You know, Facebook, LinkedIn for sure. LinkedIn's huge for the written word. So if you're very keen on writing, long form articles, you can put blog posts and everything that within your LinkedIn profile now. And as you're now doing as well, you can do it on Facebook. And Facebook, yeah, it's a bit of a strange one there, isn't it? Because when it come out, it was literally all about, you know, finding your old schoolmates and whatever and family friends, and kind of that was it, really, wasn't it? But now
Yeah.
it's far more than that. You've got like groups that you can join. You've got, as you say, you can friend up people and be friends with them, but you can also just get followers that just choose to follow you. So there's no kind of like friend requests or anything like that. They just follow
Mhm.
you. So then they will also come across your content. Um, and if they like what they see, they're going to hang around. So,
Yeah.
and yeah, and you made the great point. You haven't got to worry about hosting videos on there because you can just upload everything. You
Hmm.
haven't got to worry about, again, short form video, anything like that, because you've got your stories and everything like this. Um, if you want to bunch stuff into certain, you know, I don't know whether you can do like playlists and that, but you can certainly do groups as we're part of groups. And then when you're in groups, you can categorize certain things and pin certain posts and, stuff like that. Um, yeah. So, like you say, it's a sort of a growing trend, um, especially around kind of like marketing and that now, isn't there, with those platforms for that sort of thing.
Well, I've been studying this for quite a while now, and I'm watching and observing what's going on, and learning, and it's kind of, if you were to talk to most people and you said that there was somebody making around 5 to 10 grand a month just using a Facebook profile or even a LinkedIn profile,
Yeah.
they'll be like, "Oh, no, that's not, it's not possible. I don't see how." But if you actually look and watch and see these people, you will. I mean, take Facebook for instance. I mean, the only downside with Facebook is it's estimated that only 8 to 10% of the people who follow you, who are your friends, will see your content in their news feed because of their EdgeRank algorithm or whatever it is. But if they keep coming back and seeing stuff, or if they engage with you, there's a great chance they'll see it. But you can have on a personal profile, you can have up to 5,000 friends,
Mm,
and you can have tens of thousands of followers. I mean, I'm looking at a photo now. There's a friend I've got on Facebook. I was only talking to him the other day because once you become sort of big, there's always these Facebook fake clone accounts.
mm,
And so I just let him know that there was a new one floating around. But he has got 84,000 followers
mm,
on Facebook.
mm,
84,000 followers. I don't know his friends list, but you imagine having 5,000 friends and over 84,000 followers.
mm,
He is predominantly creating short reels. Those short reels are all basically business focused, as in affiliate marketing, sort
mm,
of lifestyle focused, sort of saying, the biggest scam in the world is actually the 9 to 5, blah, blah, blah. And
mm.
apparently he's doing really, really well just from publishing those videos
Mm.
on Facebook.
Yeah.
He
I can,
might stick them on TikTok as well. But the thing is, like I say, you've got the opportunity to post content out in front of thousands of people.
yeah, I can well believe that he's doing amazingly well. Yeah, like you say, we've talked about this. I mean, how many times have we spoke about this before? In your hand, you literally have, you know, a ready-made sort of broadcasting device, right? Which, as you say, it wasn't that long ago where, if you wanted to get your message in front of thousands of people, it would cost you a hell of a lot of money, right? Whereas now you can literally start your own almost TV channel, right? Literally with a phone, just showing up every day, sharing your little insights into what it is your niche is around. Um, or is the best combination, is, you're sharing your little video insights via reels and shorts and, you know, short form video, even on Facebook as well. And you're producing some written content, you know, and then you're engaging as well. Like, I guess in the early stages, you engage, you need to kind of build a few relationships up, and this, that, and the other. But, you know,
Mm.
it's incredibly powerful now what you have at your, you know, in your hands, literally.
We ought to call it, I was trying to think of the BBC, but we ought to call it after the American channel, ABC. It's absolutely broadcasting contraption
There
that
you
you've
go.
got in your pocket. It's ridiculous. You go on holiday and you sort of walk down the beach and you press live on Facebook and you're broadcasting around the globe to people.
Mm.
It is just ridiculous what you can do. And like you say, it's free. I mean, the other week, I think it might have gone out on Monday or Tuesday. I wrote an email while I was basically sat on the sofa at home watching Alex Polizzi, the hotel inspector. She was tearing shreds off people for doing a really naff job, and I was sat there having a mug of tea in my pajamas, writing an email, Facebook post on
Mm.
my mobile phone. Use Google Docs. So I mean, Google Docs is free to use. My mobile phone, most people have one anyway, so I bought that. And you've got your internet connection, but I'm using
Mm.
that's part of my contract I was using. And then you upload to Facebook, and that's all basically free. And the big thing here, I have to admit, yes, you can get you can get loads of followers. Like my mate Matt, he's got like say 84,000 followers, but he's publishing content. But you're not going to get followers following you just from necessarily publishing stuff. Not written content anyway. The videos are slightly different because they get shown to more people. But if you actively just go out and start friending sort of 10 people per day, or sending friend requests, 10, 20 a day, you may get several accepting. Those who don't, after a week or so, if they still haven't accepted your friend request a week or two later, you just bin them off. And then
Mm.
you go and just keep sending more and more out. And so eventually you get these people. You go look around Facebook, you have the option of showing your friend numbers, but you'll see some have got like 2,000, 3,000 friends, as well as the followers.
And let's face it, no one's got 2,000 friends in real life, have they? So these are clearly like, business acquaintances or people that have a shared interests. One of the easiest ways of doing it um, is to go into like-minded groups. So
Yeah.
you can join up like-minded groups, that's whatever niche you're in, go and hook up in some other groups. And then that's a real easy way to just meet a load of people. And then, there might be some questions in there. People might need some help with stuff. And that's your time then, jump in on that question, give some advice, you know, blah blah, and then you'll get people liking the comments, and then you just build up a little conversation, and then it's not that big of a deal then to then go and friend request that person. It's perfectly fine to
No.
be able to do that. We are in a world now where everything's connected. The world's got a lot smaller. It's perfectly fine to go out there, have a conversation with someone, and then hit add friend. The worst that's going to happen is they're going to decline it. Big deal. And then once they're friends, like you say, you start creating content anyway. You've kind of like molded your Facebook profile around this sort of like, you know, niche, if you like, that you're going to be
Yep.
talking about. And then you just sort of, try and sort of stay on topic. It's obviously you're going to share some personal stuff every now and again, but mainly kind of stay on that sort of topic that you're talking about, whether
Yeah.
it's be helping people out or, money or gardening or, drones or whatever it is you're going to be talking about. And then all of a sudden you will just start getting that, that build up and that little following. And once you get a little momentum behind it, people are going to want to stick around. They're going to want to read what you're going to write. If you're doing a daily vlog or if you're doing a daily article or something like that, people are going to want to hang around. I just wanted to ask one thing because I remember we
Yep.
talked about this the other day, and I know you know the answer to it, but I couldn't remember it. Can you can link to an individual post, can't you? Is that
Facebook, yes.
yeah. So you can actually, let's say you've written an article, you could actually send that just a link to that article via an email or something, couldn't you?
I have done that, yes.
Yeah.
You can. The only downside with that is if someone hasn't got a Facebook account or they're not logged in, they
Yeah,
can't
yeah, yeah.
access it.
Mhm.
So it's often I often stick our posts on the blog so people can go directly to it because there's no. But yes, you can, and it is actually a great way of getting extra traffic. I mean, I did that the other day. There's basically on Facebook. I don't know so much about LinkedIn, but I'm sure you can because every post has its own sort of independent URL.
Yeah.
But on the right-hand side, where you're looking at Facebook, there's three dots. You would think you would go there, but you don't. You go to the other side where it's got the time and the date.
Mm.
You click on that, and then that opens it up as a whole individual page. So then you take that URL and then you share it.
Yeah,
So
that.
you can
Mm.
stick it in emails, you can stick it in messengers, you can you can send people to an individual post. So
Mm.
it is like in the old days of blogging, you can send an email straight to that actual
Yeah.
distraction-free post.
Mm.
A couple of things just to think about, and that is you were talking about their friends and people probably not accepting your friend request and the rejection. Don't worry about it. When it comes to Facebook, there's two things I want to think about. You mentioned, firstly, you actually make friends with people who you think are going to be right for you. You don't make friends with everyone. If there's
No.
certain people you don't fancy, I mean, it's like me. I'm if I found out that some of my mates were sort of homophobic and racist, I would avoid them like the plague, because they're not aligned with me. And so when you're on Facebook, if you're going through someone's profile and you find somebody who you think, well,
Yeah.
actually, you look a bit of a, don't send them a friend request.
No.
If someone sends you a friend request and you look at their profile and you think
Mm.
you're a bit of a, yeah,
Yeah.
not quite for
Probably
me,
not.
yeah,
No.
just decline it. You don't have to make friends with everyone. You make friends with people who you believe is more in tuned with you. Because at the end of the day, if you're selling products and services, you want someone who, if you're selling golf products, you want people who play golf, not people who go swimming. Do you know what I mean? It's that
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah. Mm.
mentality. And the other thing was, what was I going to say? I've completely forgot it now. Oh yes, sharing life. These people, these six-figure, seven-figure earners on Facebook who are just using their profiles, they do share parts of their personal life. However, you don't share everything. You share
No.
what the people want, what you want the world to see, what you're happy to share,
Mm.
and that's the thing. That you often get these people when you're talking to them, and you say, "Well, you've gone to a coffee shop with your wife or your husband or something. Take a photograph of the cake you're having and the drinks you're having. Just have a photograph of you wherever you're on.
Mm.
I don't want to share my personal life. I don't want people knowing everything." It's like, well, they won't know everything.
No.
You're not going to share every few minutes all the really sad parts of your life, the downfall. I mean, you can share a story, a sad story, if it helps,
Mm.
align people with you, but you share what you want to share. You just don't do everything. You keep so much for yourself and you keep so much for social media.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah, I must admit, I mean, I got a little bit, I got a little bit, well, I don't know. I tend to only use Facebook now for groups that I'm in, interested in groups. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I found it a bit of a, I don't know. But like all platforms, you're gonna get like the hate and all that sort of, that's part of it. I think that's actually a sign that, you're actually doing something quite
Mm,
well in a
that's
way.
what they say. Yeah.
Once you start getting a bit of negativity and hate, then it's
People are
usually a
spotting you.
case that, you're being spotted. Yeah. But I wanted to make the point that, what is interesting, and I find that's interesting, and it is quite an interesting discussion, and that is that, the evolution of these platforms, and we've seen it, like from the very get-go, when
Mm,
they all first started out, that there was never the intention, that people were going to be writing, 1,000-word articles and then posting them on there, and that was going to be the end goal. It was never going to be the plan. So I like the way that these platforms do evolve, and that the users themselves kind of mold them into kind of what they want. And then obviously Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, TikTok and all that, they sort of evolve over the years, don't they? TikTok is a massive one that's changing all the time, and I'm really interested to see how that's going, because
you said something about the other day that they're now doing photos.
yes, so they are like, and I'm by my own admission a relative newcomer to that platform. I'm
Mm,
probably only 4 months, 5 months in on that, and I'm loving it. It's great, and but even in that short space of time, I've seen some changes. Do you know what I mean? Like they've already gone from like, I think it started off like it was very heavily focused on just short form video. That was kind of it. Like anything under a minute was kind of like deemed the sort of sweet spot. You'd have like minute long videos. Then it kind of went up to like 10 minutes. And
mhm.
now they're on about saying like there's not just that way, but they're on about doing hour long videos that you can rotate that way. Right. So they're basically going almost head to head
Okay.
with like YouTube, right? And then by doing that, they think that they're going to entice bigger and better advertisers. So you're going to get more
Yeah.
injection of cash that way, because people are going to be interested to see, like when they can do horizontal ads, obviously they can put a lot more in than if they're doing like a, 40-second
Yeah.
video sort of thing.
Well, that's like TV, isn't it?
It's like TV, basically, yeah. So that is another thing, yeah. So then I was saying, like, I was thinking, how long is it going to be before you have it on? Because we've got YouTube on our smart TV, and that's sort of like a standard thing now. You know, the kids watch YouTube more on the telly than they do on their phones. So how long before TikTok we see, like, I don't know, TikTok TV or something like that? And the other thing, like you mentioned then, and we talked about this last night when we were on a client call yesterday, and that is now I'm seeing loads more just pictures, just photos on TikTok, and so they've all of a sudden now they're trying to take on, I guess Instagram would be the natural sort of rival to them in that regard. So, and yeah, and I spotted there was a account that I picked up on yesterday, and it was all just like sort of nostalgia, like historical photos from sort of like yesteryear, you know, days gone by.
Yeah.
And it was like old towns, and it would show like the old shops that are now closed, you know, like you'd have pictures of like, you know, Woolworths and like the old shops from like, you know, the 90s and that. And then you'd have like nightclubs and pubs. So that sort of really got a bit of nostalgia going from the people that were in that town. And all it was just basically a carousel of images. You know, that's literally it, with some music over the background, which you can do all within the app. You don't need any editing software to do any of this. You can do the whole thing within the app. You literally just upload the 5 pictures, choose a piece of music that it will give you half a dozen suggestions for, and then put a little header on there, and then bang, publish. And this account was massive. It was like 180,000 followers. Do you know what I mean? So they're making money. They're making money, no doubt.
That's what originally blogs were like, wasn't it? You had Google blog on your WordPress and your forums. People were doing that sort of thing. They built these websites for like your photos of yesteryear, and like you say, now these platforms have become the blogger's blog of choice.
Yeah, absolutely. It does seem that that's sort of like the case with,
and they do all seem to follow suit after all. Like you say, your TikTok was originally just sort of a video sharing platform, short videos. But now, like you say, it's expanding into sort of YouTube territory and Instagram territory. And you know, Facebook are now doing reels like Instagram was, and they all basically eventually form into the same sort of thing. I think the only one that hasn't really advanced too far, because they're probably quite happy with what they are, and that's YouTube, because it is just a video, the hosting place and search engine. But even then, they did a few years ago, they did their own equivalent of Facebook Messenger within YouTube. But people weren't really into it because they were just going there to watch videos. They didn't really want to share and talk to each other. But they did expand and grow in that respect. But they have grown to the point that now you can broadcast your own channel there, and you can actually charge subscriptions for people to see your own channel. So they are still, you know, they're not just a video hosting site.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's be interesting to see where TikTok goes, because I mean, like you say, if they're now doing photos on carousel photos,
exactly.
it's video-ish, isn't it? But
and then maybe are they gonna enter into the world of the written word? You know, who knows? Then that
you can write a description with your videos, can't you?
Yeah, you can, but you're obviously limited to you know, the length of it won't be that many. It will be like, you know, a few hundred words or something like that.
But that may change.
But that's it. Yeah, that may change.
So
yeah, I mean, the other thing which, you know, which we haven't really talked about and we haven't really done that much of is lives. And you know, you can go, I know, like obviously like Facebook lives you can do. I don't know if you can do it on, you can probably do it on everything. Obviously I know for certain you can do TikTok lives, Instagram lives. I'm assuming you can do LinkedIn lives. It's not really a platform that I'm that familiar with, but again, what a phenomenal thing to be able to do. You know what I
mean? The thing with
and you could just jump on a live. So with TikTok live, obviously you can. There's all sorts of weird things that go on with that, which I've not done any yet. I do plan on doing some, but you get like things like gifts and that people can send you, which I think you can sort of convert into like some sort of currency. I don't know. I might be wrong.
Right. They do something similar on Facebook called Stars. I've never really truly
is it?
that.
Yeah. I don't quite know how it all works just yet. Like I say, I'm fairly new to that platform, but yeah, it's quite a yeah, it's looking quite promising, put it that way.
The thing with Facebook when you go live, apparently that when you go live, a notification is sent to all your friends and followers.
Right.
Whereas when you
Yeah.
post something, you don't necessarily. Facebook may tell you that someone has posted an article or a video if you engage with them a lot,
Yeah.
because it's all for Facebook. It was all about the edge rank. I don't know if that's what they call it anymore, but the algorithm was they'd let you know who you interacted with the most. Um,
Mm.
and so the people you spoke to more, they want you to interact more. So they found out if they posted something, they'd let you know. But with lives, apparently they just blanket bomb everybody with a notification. You've gone live, so
Yeah. I noticed the same with TikTok. I follow a couple of people on there. One guy goes live every day, every night he does a live. And
yeah,
every night without fail, I get the notification of that. Um, and it says hat, and they're very clever the way they describe the way they do the sort of copy on that. He does that. This person doesn't do that. This is what TikTok does.
yeah,
It says so and so and so and so invites you to their live, so it makes it personal. So you're like invites me. Ah,
yeah.
okay. This is just for me then. I better go and have a look. Even though it hasn't, it's got out to everyone. But yeah, and
It's funny you should say that because that's the language is important. That's one of the reasons why I hated LinkedIn. I don't know if there's a slight, I don't know if I'm slightly autistic in or what in my approach to life, but with LinkedIn, because it was supposed to be about business networking, it was supposed to be about networking. But every time you sent sort of friend request, or it was like, "Do you know this person?" My answer is no. So then there's a resistance. It should be like, "Would you like to connect with this person, or would you
yeah.
like to?" If it's about
I must have
connection,
changed it because now it just says connect. But I remember that in the early days, it was all like, yeah, a bit,
you'd be
do
like,
you know them?
"Oh."
Yeah,
Oh, I don't. It's like, are you sure? Do you think you should be pestering this person? Like, oh, I don't know. Maybe I won't. And so I
yeah.
never really made a lot of friends on LinkedIn because I didn't really like to pester
No,
people by sending strangers friend requests.
I know,
So it
I
was
know.
interesting.
Yeah, I know. What's his name? Gary V. Vaynerchuk. He's big on. He talks very highly of LinkedIn with regards to written content. Anyway, I don't know what it's like for any of the other mediums, but he very much says it's a very good platform because
Mm,
apparently they get picked up. They can get picked up like months later, sort of thing. Unlike I don't know, like Facebook and that is usually just that initial burst and then it's sort of peters off. LinkedIn, apparently it can, I don't know,
right.
it's well used as a search engine and people can pick up
So
on it later on. Yeah.
so LinkedIn's a bit like YouTube because YouTube's the same.
Yeah.
YouTube for me is the only sort of video social media platform where, like you say, everything gets lost, under the new
Mm.
stuff. It just goes downwards into
Yeah.
the ether. But with
Mm.
YouTube, it can come up and down, and
Yeah.
it can live forever, so to
Mm.
speak. Old videos can become really popular new.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah. We've seen that, haven't we? Like personal, like firsthand, we've seen that with stuff that's been sitting around for months. And then all of a sudden it just gets 10,000 views one day and you're like, oh yeah, hasn't done anything for 6 months. And then all of a sudden, yeah.
mm. That's interesting. I ought to look into LinkedIn more then.
Mm.
Because it's what it's always a bit, like I said, there's lots of people who are doing Facebook marketing. They're making a lot of money with Facebook and they just stick with Facebook because they want to get people
Yeah.
into the Facebook Messenger and they say stick to one platform. And it is easy to get yourself sort of spread out thin. But at the same time, it's kind of like you've just written an article for Facebook and you can just basically copy it and paste it, drop it into LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And
Literally.
you do that for Medium, for Substack. Yes, it might be an hour by the time you finish posting it but you've posted it to several places
Yeah.
and you've
Oh
stuck
yeah.
them out. You've stuck these extra fishing hooks out into the cyber pond,
Absolutely.
out there to hook people in. So,
Mm.
um, you know, it depends, I suppose, on how you can focus on one and use the others as I don't know, a bit of a satellite, I suppose. But
Mm.
yeah, I'll have to look into LinkedIn because I post stuff on Facebook. I might as well stick it on LinkedIn.
Well, exactly. Yeah, you are sort of written man, really, when it comes to content in that regard. So, yeah, it
Mm,
sort of makes sense. But yeah, I do agree with what you say, though. I mean, there's only so much people can do, and it does get to a point. I mean, I kind of like some of the TikTok videos I make. I don't put them on Instagram because they're too long. You know what I mean? And there is that, unfortunately, TikTok's sort of like overtaken really Instagram in terms of what you can share. I think they've changed it now. When I first
mhm.
started doing it, the ones I was doing on TikTok, like 3 minute, 4 minute ones, I couldn't put them on Instagram because they weren't. it was like 90 seconds, I think, was the maximum for the short
Yeah.
reels. So yeah, but I mean that'll all change. They'll all get, bigger, and they'll all evolve, like you say. It's weird, isn't it? Like we went from long form video, YouTube, then there was a massive obsession with short form video, really, really short form video.
Can you remember Vines? Was it Vines?
Mine, they were like 15 seconds or something, weren't they? And it was maybe even, I don't know. And then it was like now TikTok, which is kind of like the under a minute. Initially, when it started out, it was always about short, really quick, 30-second, under a minute. Now that's creeping back up. Do you know what I mean? And now they're on about, they're not there yet, but like I say, anyone on that platform that knows the way that's going, they're all saying the same thing. They're all saying hour-long videos are coming soon. And then you sort of think, well, they have to be going. They're basically trying to go after, but they're going to be competing with YouTube in that regard, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? So, hour long, you could have whole podcast episodes on there. You could have full length tutorials on there. Do you know what I mean? It's amazing thing. So, but yeah, we'll wait and see how that pans out.
Yes, it'd be definitely worth looking into. It's quite an interesting concept.
Yeah.
But because I mean, I do tend to make longer videos, and for these people being saying, "Oh, it's short form now," and it's like, well, I missed the boat, or people ain't gonna like my stuff. But then if they're gonna go back to long form, then yeah, I'm back in the game.
Yeah. So basically, just to summarize, then we should probably wrap up. But
yeah,
for anyone that's getting on, anyone that's sort of starting out, we still do recommend the website of your own. There's nothing you can't beat having your own URL and your own sort of company with a website and everything like that. That's still a very good way of doing things. But if you don't want to use that, that could just simply be your sort of calling card, if you like. And then if you want to, there's nothing to stop you just now posting all of your content on, these social media platforms and using them as a sort of launch pad, to get your stuff out there. So, well worth
to me, it depends on what your business is or what your niche is. But I see your own website now as basically just a piece of security. For the price that it costs, I mean, you're looking like $200 for like 2 years, if that, to have your own place where you can have an opt-in form, so you can build an email list, you can do stuff on there, but you can do majority of your posting, majority of your videos, or you're connecting with people on Facebook. But should Facebook ever close you down, or should LinkedIn ever close you down, or whatever, you lose your account on TikTok, you've still got your own place where people can, where did Andy go to, or where did John go to? They can probably come and look for you. You can carry on the conversation, and you're not quite dead in the water. So I see having a website is like a bit of a protection. But technically, if you're not that bothered, you can do everything that you need to do on one of these platforms. Most definitely, you can build up a connection of following and promote products and build a business on a product on a third-party platform.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, thanks very much for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, and speak to you soon. Cheers, goodbye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Freedom Hustles podcast. We hope you found inspiration and insights to help fuel your journey towards freedom. Don't forget to join our free newsletter at freedomskillsacademy.com/newsletter, where you can find exclusive tips, updates, and resources to help elevate your hustle. Until next time, keep hustling towards your dreams.